This video contains major spoilers about the future of House of the Dragon. If spoilers don't bother you, then continue watching. House of the Dragon Season 2 didn't give fans the same excitement as Season 1. Viewers were questioning HBO about why this season was so short and why there was no finale. The Game of Thrones series, which was adapted from the book A Song of Ice and Fire, was written by George R.R. Martin. On Wednesday, Martin made a blog post about it, where he didn't harshly criticize what went wrong this season, but rather discussed the butterfly effect, focusing on a scene that fans weren't talking much about, but the impact was evident. However, he later deleted this blog post. So, today we're going to talk about the drama between House of the Dragon and George R.R. Martin. Considering the spoilers, let's begin. So, what exactly happened? House of the Dragon Season 1 was incredible, and its viewership broke many records. The showrunners Ryan Condal and Miguel Sapochnik were praised a lot, and many fans even said that it was running better than Game of Thrones. Season 2 premiered after almost a year and a half, which already made fans less happy, causing the premiere's viewership to drop by 22%. However, the first episode, Blood and Cheese, was liked by the audience, and the viewership continued to rise with each episode, with ratings also improving. Even Season 2's The Red Dragon and The Gold made it into the top 10 highest-rated episodes, rivaling Game of Thrones episodes. But while the last episode of Season 2 is considered a good episode, it was a very disappointing finale. The previous season had 10 episodes, and almost all Game of Thrones seasons had 10 episodes, but House of the Dragon Season 2 had only 8. Throughout the season, a major battle was teased, but it was shifted to the next season. Many other changes were also criticized. Rhaenyra changed her look to meet Alicent in King's Landing and returned. Alicent went to meet Rhaenyra at the end of Season 2. The kiss between Rhaenyra and Mysaria, especially when Mysaria was talking about her childhood trauma, was controversial. Even the events of Blood and Cheese were shown differently from the book. The Battle of the Burning Mill is well described in the book, with some important characters introduced, but the series only showed the aftermath of the battle in one scene. In the book, Aegon is not portrayed as foolish as he is in the series. In the book, Aegon and Helaena have 3 children, not 2. The interaction between Alice Rivers and Daemon Targaryen is not mentioned in the book. Otto Hightower persuades Tyrosh to support the Greens in the book. Even the whole arc of Sheepstealer is changed in the series, with Nettles being replaced by Daemon's daughter Rhaena, altering Rhaena's future arc. Now, many other changes have happened, but I have told you about some major ones. I am not against changes, nor are many fans. It was already made clear that the book House of the Dragon is adapted from was written as a history book. Let me try to explain this a bit better. A Song of Ice and Fire was written as if the events were happening currently, with different characters' points of view. But House of the Dragon was written by George R.R. Martin as a recorded history, not in the POV style, so the showrunners added some extra things from their side, like Rhaenyra meeting Alicent. So, what was the problem with Season 2? The main issue for the audience was the writing. House of the Dragon is covering the Dance of the Dragons part of the Fire and Blood book. But in the first season, it also showed the story before Dance of the Dragons, and Dance of the Dragons started halfway through the season. This means that Season 1 had more details and material, while the writers stretched Season 2. Almost the entire season was spent on Daemon and his nightmares at Harrenhal. Plus, the attempt to connect House of the Dragon to the Game of Thrones finale reminded fans of old pains. One great battle was shown throughout the season, the battle at Rook's Rest. Fans were quiet throughout the season, expecting the Battle of the Gullet at the end, but it was shifted to Season 3. That's why fans demanded that the book's author, George R.R. Martin, say something about it. So, what did George say? George R.R. Martin had already said something before Season 2 ended. He made a blog post where he said that whenever a book or source material is adapted, screenwriters or showrunners or directors try to add their own changes to give the story their touch and make it their own. But 99.9% of the time, this ruins the story rather than improving it. This statement is 100% true. If a book is already famous among people, which is why the studio bought the rights, then why make changes to it? And if changes are necessary, wouldn't it be better to consult the writer about those changes? In Season 1, the idea of Targaryens being dreamers was suggested by George R.R. Martin himself. This single change made Season 1's Helaena better than the book's Helaena. So, George R.R. Martin already knew what problems were going to arise in Season 2. But on Wednesday, in the blog post that George made, he didn't go into long criticisms of the series. He just talked about one change and its effect, referring to it as the butterfly effect. I want to warn you now that this might be a spoiler for the future. George R.R. Martin talked about the blood and cheese event shown in the first episode of Season 2, where he said that the blood and cheese event in the series was very different from the book. A lot was changed, but one big change he noticed was that Aegon and Helaena had 3 children. Jaehaerys, Jaehaera, book names, and their youngest, Maelor. Helaena is given a choice to pick which child will be killed. Helaena first says to kill her instead of her children, but blood and cheese don't agree. Then Helaena chooses her youngest son, Maelor, because Jaehaerys was the heir to the throne, and Maelor was so young that he wouldn't understand what his mother had said. But then Blood says to Maelor, "See, your mother has chosen you." And then he kills her elder son, Jaehaerys. In the book, this is described as a son for a son event. Now, not showing Maelor in the series might not seem like a big deal right now, but its side effects will be seen later. After Jaehaerys' death, Helaena becomes depressed and can't even look at her son Maelor. When Rhaenyra takes control of King's Landing, Alicent sends her children away with 2 knights of the Kingsguard for their safety. Jaehaerys is sent to Storm's End to be with Lord Boros Baratheon, and Maelor is sent under the protection of the Hightower army with Ser Ricard Thorne. Rhaenyra placed a bounty on these children, offering a reward to anyone who brings them back to her. Jaehaerys safely reaches Storm's End, but Ser Ricard and Maelor are captured by a group who wanted the reward. Despite Ser Ricard fighting bravely, they couldn't save Maelor, and the captors brutally dismembered him to claim the reward from Rhaenyra. This news forces Helaena to commit suicide, and rumors spread in King's Landing that Rhaenyra had Helaena killed, sparking riots in the city. The Shepherd, with a large group of people, storms the Dragonpit, forcing Rhaenyra to flee back to Dragonstone. So, George made it clear that a small change can have a huge impact on future events. Now imagine this with all the changes the writers made throughout Season 2, and think about their butterfly effect. George R.R. Martin has since deleted this post. An HBO spokesperson later said that there are bigger fans of George R.R. Martin outside HBO than inside. Bringing a book to the screen is a different thing, and there are many limitations for showrunners, which is why some story changes are necessary. Ryan Condal has done an incredible job with this series, earning millions of fans across these 2 seasons, and people will continue to enjoy his work in the future. So, what does all this mean? It means that dollars are spent on making the series, and to spend fewer dollars, the showrunners change the story. This is the biggest reason this season was short, because showing the Battle of the Gullet in this season would have been too costly for HBO. However, if we're talking about changes, it would have been better if these changes had been made in consultation with George R.R. Martin. When not showing a small character like Maelor can make many things difficult to explain later, then what could happen with the rest of the changes? For example, it's hard to imagine how they will show the Sheepstealer arc now. However, let's see how they connect the story in Season 3. So if you like this video, don't forget to like and share it, and subscribe to our channel for more content. To understand how powerful Red Hulk is, watch the video above. And to know about upcoming 10 Marvel movies, watch the one below. I'll be back with a new video soon.